the entire ecosystem of learning and higher education is being disrupted. We can stuck in the past, we do disservice to the future learners that are entrusted in our hands. Technology tends to be perhaps further than policies of our universities and the bureaucracies that saddles them. It is up to us, the academic leaders, the academic actors and agents in the classrooms, who perhaps have not been cultured in this demand coming at them, whose learning styles and learning acquisitions of knowledge assets and creations of knowledge assets doesn't actually conform to this new emerging inbounds and aggressiveness that we are unable to catch up. So I see this as a very, very good beginning to have two high quality, highly reputable institutions to learn from each other. I think we have a lot to learn from Ahmadu Bello University. My own dad, an uncle who brought me up, studied at ABU in agriculture many, many years ago before I was born. So my household, far, far away in the Gambia, knew of ABU Zaria before I even know Nigeria. So you are at the cusp of academic excellence and leadership in years and years ago. So I think it is only natural for ABU to position herself as a leader in this new disruption that higher education is being confronted with. And we being the young kid in the block, we see you as a respectable institution, and coming here is quite humbling. And I hope that our relationship, our exchanges, is a beginning of a long journey together. And that will go beyond e-learning, but as Hassan, Dr. Hassan, right? Professor Hassan said, that these are opportunities to begin human-to-human collaborations that are needed in the creation and sharing of knowledge, to support each other, to visit with each other for the objective of serving our learning communities. AUN have, from day one, decided that technology will be central to everything that we do, that technology is not going to be a tool, a luxury. It's an enabler of our learning community and our ecosystems here. So from 2005, I was fortunate because I was here when all of this was a farmland. There was nothing here. It's amazing actually how this place has evolved. The things we used to struggle with at the time, we don't struggle with anymore. Those were the days when people were talking about digital divide, access to internet, bandwidth, the last mile. So we had a satellite dish somewhere here around campus. And I remembered when we dug the holes to put that big dish, and people couldn't know what this was, and how we were able to land a bandwidth to it so that our campus will be powered. We had fiber across the campus, but we couldn't connect to the exchange, so we had to connect it to this dish. So that we immediately allow our students and our faculty members and our staff to get access to connectivity. And we've always believed that with access to the connectivity, they will have access to knowledge assets in bounds and manner in which you cannot get it on physical assets. We also knew that it will instantly allow us not to reinvent the wheel. You will have access to what others have done, and you will be able to get that, reuse it, and contextualize it in your own setting. We also knew that technology assets are expensive. They can emerge to be luxury. We also know that with this technology assets, if we don't provide it to our community, we will not be where we want to be as we grow. We also know that apart from having the technological infrastructure, we need to also train our people. Because at the end of the day, it's not the tool, it's not the platform, it's the mindset of the people, it's the commitment of the people, is for people to change themselves first and change the way they create and share knowledge and the way they work and the way they learn themselves and the way they teach. Because when you have technology centric and it enables what you do, you, the actor, must have to change the way that you used to behave and the way you used to act and the way you used to interact with knowledge and the way you deliver knowledge. It was interesting when I talked to Prof, he talked about the flipped classroom. Even in the advanced world, not all universities are in the flipped world, but they've learned that they can't stop that. That gradually, teaching itself, learning itself has changed. If you don't change, you will begin to have challenges with yourself as an academic, as somebody who delivers knowledge assets, because the population that you are going to deliver these knowledge assets will not respond in the manner and ways you were used to being responded with when you were doing face-to-face or top-down delivery. So the whole entire pedagogical approach has been disrupted. They have been exposed to accessing knowledge assets that you used to deliver, and you used to be the god and the king of it, and if you don't, you have to bow to me, you have to beg me, you have to give it to me in the same packets and ways that I have given it to you. That has changed. Before the professor holds his or her notes that was gathered during the days when he or she was taking that same class from this revered professor. And that is what made him or her, right? So if you don't take that class, if you are not close to that professor, you will not be able to get that wonderful knowledge content that resides with him. And the students will have to come to class, bow down and copiously take dictated notes, right? And to ensure that there is quality of that asset and that asset is valuable, when you query to know whether they understand the content, you have to give it to them in the same format and manner. If not, you will lose points, you will lose marks. So this has changed completely. Before somebody comes to take biology, some of you are biologists, I'm not a biologist, but if they come, by the time they come to the class, now they have access to the same content that you have, right? They have access to delivery of that content from the world's best professors in multiples. They can listen to it, they can review it many times, they can actually get the transcript of the lecture, the translation of the lecture verbatim, they can print it, right? They can have the same PowerPoint notes, the reference material, and even the textbook for free, right? So if you are a highly motivated student coming to that biology, and the topic is whatever, XYZ, they would have read XYZ, they would have watched a lecture from the world's finest professor, and they come to you to class. Now, if you want to go there and give it to them the way you used to give it to them, there will be a disconnect, right? So this new mode of learning continues to shift, continues to change. And we universities that are revered cannot sit aside and watch. Whether the policy is there, whether the regulation is there, we don't have a choice. We have to do something. And who changes the policy? Who changes the regulation? It will be better for us who deliver to do it. If we don't, somebody else will do it, and if they do it, it will not conform to what it should be. So I think for me, I'm quite impressed, to be honest, to have a diversity of the cross-section of the entire ABU, focused and committed to ensure that they do e-learning right. Of course, you can do it wrong, and that becomes a disaster, right? It's not just a tool replicating or representing a professor, it's more than that. It's not about the LMS, it's not about Canvas or Blackboard or Moodle or Sakai or you name it. It's not about that. At the end of the day, there ought to be an underlying pedagogy, an underlying philosophy, an underlying expected learning outcomes that are needed. There ought to be a mechanism to learn the behavior of the actors and agents using that platform daily. And modern LMSs allows you to do that. It allows you to understand the learner in manner and bounds that you could not and will not if I'm doing this. I can know if it's the appropriate platform, when they access the knowledge assets, how they access it, how they interact with the knowledge. You can assess them instantly, and they can get feedback instantly. So there is a whole data analytics that is around the learner that will enable you as a facilitator of learning to be able to learn the different learning behaviors and modify your interventions accordingly. The way you assess them begins to change. The way you appropriate importance of knowledge and where you emphasize begins to change. So these are opportunities that most universities that are not adopting this disruptive technology is missing. Textbooks. We used to just turn in the pages, right? If you're teaching the physical sciences or the natural sciences, what you used to draw on the board, now you can click. And there will be dynamic interactions that the students can do live. And believe me, seeing the visual, seeing the video, being able to see the process being played out can reinforce learning in manners and ways than just a linear way of accessing the knowledge will not give you, right? So I can go on, and I'm sure you know all of this, but I'm just saying this to emphasize that you are all on the right path. We here at AUN have not regretted being on top of that. And it's a continuous process, right? The demands, people think that, oh, it's just a tool, it's going to replace me. I become irrelevant. It's a myth. It's not the case. Actually, you become more efficient. You become a person who can produce more that you were unable to do before. You'll be able to collaborate and learn from your learners in a way that you would not have ordinarily do. So I think working on the people side, on the mindset, on the pedagogical approach, on the design of your courses, the design of content, so that there is uniformity. You're able to do that, so that if I teach the same course with 4 people, the content is pretty much the same. The way we assess them, they're pretty much the same. Then you get now to improve the quality assurance of learning in ways that just collecting surveys with numbers will not give it to you, right? So we are here with a team that have been involved in building the infrastructure that is requisite for an effective delivery and for an efficient platform. And I'm sure they will interact with all of you. We also have folks and colleagues who are teaching courses that are blended, right? Because of course, when we say e-learning, there are different multitudes of approaches. Either you do it entirely as you're doing, where it's a whole pedagogical infrastructure that offers degrees. Is another